than 100,000 people joining a far-right protest in the heart of London.
A Muslim who's living in the UK, how should they take this?
I would be very concerned. I would take this very seriously. They've basically threatened to physically harm us. Do you understand?
No amount of self-defense is going to help a woman if she's walking in the street and she gets attacked by a drunk man.
Now in Sweden, in classrooms with 4 or 5-year-old kids, they bring trans strippers.
Yo, women and kids are going to die, bro. Bro, I'm just keeping it real with you. If they can come up on stage and say, let's get ready to fight or die, and Muslims are the issue, how can we sit here and not say, bro, this is actually a problem now?
Be your own man, make your own decisions.
You need to take responsibility again.
Yes.
And you need to become economically independent. At the end of the day, your goal to make Hijra is to establish Islam. Where can I leave something behind?
What I'm about to say might upset a lot of you. But most of you watching this will not qualify for the opportunity that I'm about to present. And I don't say that to sound arrogant, I promise. I say this to inspire you. Over the last year, I've been working on creating one of the most influential Muslim networks in existence. I'm currently growing a network of 7 to 9 figure Muslim entrepreneurs that can support one another and help elevate each other to the next level. This is going to be something that's never been done before, and the results we've been seeing inside have been astronomical with Allah's permission. So if you fit this and you're currently a Muslim entrepreneur or investor building your empire and you're doing 7 to 9 figures per year, click the link below to learn more, inshallah ta'ala. And if not, maybe one day I can see you inside, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum. Last week in the UK, we saw a far-right protest, a far-right march where over 100,000, some say 150,000, some say close to 1 million, by the way. They themselves were saying apparently there was millions of people there. But
I suppose they said 3 million.
Allah knows best. But let's just say a whole bunch of people came to the streets to unite the kingdom. Now, at this event, we saw speakers come on stage and categorically come and say, Islam is our enemy. We need to root out Islam from Europe. Yeah, people like Elon Musk come on and say, you either fight or you die. And there were cheers. So my first question, and I'll come to Imran for this.
God.
What should a Muslim's reaction be? A Muslim who's living in the UK, how should they take this? What should their initial reaction be to this?
Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. So I'm going to talk to you about what my reaction would be.
Okay.
Right? I would be very concerned. I would take this very seriously. As far as I'm concerned, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but that to me that's a threat. They've basically threatened to physically harm us. Do you understand? So the first thing that I would be doing if I was in the UK right now is, how do I get myself and my family the hell out of this place? Straight, as a matter of fact. This is not the time to play macho, man. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's their country. They live in the country. You have family. Like, if you're on your own, you're giving da'wah, you were there for a reason. I get that. But you don't put your family at stake. You know, if you look, for example, at what happened to the Jews at the time of Nazi Germany, bro, it started off with this, that, the kind of stuff that we saw, the kind of stuff we've been seeing over the last 20 years in the media. That type of stuff was happening just prior. And the next thing you know, bro, people find themselves in concentration camps. And when you look at history, you see these type of cycles repeat over and over again. It's not a joke, bro. When that many people from the host country come to the streets, bro, and by the way, these guys are unemployed, so they're angry. Do you understand? And they come to the streets and they say, listen, you guys are our enemies. You are a problem. And this talk about fighting or dying on this sword, bro, if you don't know Hijra's wajib by now, I don't know what to say to you.
But what if someone argues and says, look, you're right, there was people, you know, let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say 150,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tiny fringe,
bro,
amount of population. Majority of people in this country are open. They're open-minded, they accept us, we work hand in hand, we go side by side, we go school together, we sit in the office together. They don't hate me. They never told me that I hate you.
There's going to be the one straw that breaks the camel's back, and you should not be stupid enough to try and wait around to see whether it's going to be, you know, in your lifetime or the generation after. Point being is, bro, like even when World War II started, it happened on the back of, I think, one Austrian guy getting shot, and World War II starts. or one Polish guy. There's like one incident. One guy got killed and World War II started.
So do you feel like the Muslims should be fearful right now?
Look, I don't think we should be scared of anyone but Allah Azza wa Jal. Do you understand? I don't mean be scared of these guys. I'm not saying this from the angle of I'm scared of these guys. But bro, just from the angle of you're living in a place where your safety is threatened and you've got children. Bro, I'm putting myself in a position of I'm in the UK right now. I'm just thinking about my wife, my kid, thinking about my mum. I'm thinking about my females, bro. My female relatives. Do you understand? And like a man can't even focus in that regard.
Mohammed, what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
Sorry, before, didn't a sister in niqab just get shot in the US?
In Maryland, yeah.
Yep.
Do you understand?
If I can push back a little bit, and it's not that I'm disagreeing with what Imran is saying, Sheikh Imran.
Push back, bro.
I have this fear, that as Muslims, we've come from colonized countries. We live as minorities. We've already inherited multiple generations of inferiority complexes. I always fear Muslims internalizing a victim mentality.
Okay.
And I always fear cementing in the hearts of Muslims this inferiority complex. So I know that you're not trying to scaremonger or like be sensationalist, but the reality is news headlines are supposed to be sensationalist. They're supposed to be outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
The algorithms are there to entertain outrage. You see? So it's very important for us to be aware. This is from your responsibilities as a man to know the world around you, to know the community that you live in. It's very important for the Muslim leadership, community leadership, to recognize, and the Prophet ﷺ, he knew to send the Sahaba to Habasha. Why? Because there's a just king there. There's a king where no one's going to be oppressed. That shows the Prophet ﷺ knew about the politics, not just in Arabia, but outside of Arabia. And he made a very strategic decision. Right? So I'm all for raising awareness about this topic, but we need to be proactive. We need to be strategic. We need to empower Muslims to take responsibility. I think that's the word I'm looking for. And not to just, feel sorry for themselves and complain and get emotionally worked up about the situation. Let's empower the Muslims. How do I take responsibility? Even Hijra, it requires first that you take responsibility. I'm responsible for my family before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If anything happens to them in this life or the next, I'm responsible. So, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. I'm responsible for them. So the first step...
Just translate the ayah for the viewers.
Save yourselves and your families from the hellfire. It's simple. So, sorry, I know you want to interject. Just how do we turn this conversation? Because look, we can sit here, we can talk about how the numbers and the slogans, and we can get worked up, and we can be like, you know what? Okay, good. And we need to learn self-defense, bro. No amount of self-defense, if something kicks off, is going to help you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah? No amount of self-defense is going to help a woman if she's walking in the street and she gets attacked by a drunk man. So let's, my opinion, let's turn the conversation and the discussion in the direction of how do we empower Muslims to take responsibility? Number one. Number two, how do we ensure that we don't continue living with inferiority complexes, with learned helplessness, but no, we actually start to take pride in ourselves and our identity, and have izzah in ourselves, and start look for openings, just like the Prophet ﷺ sent the Sahaba to Habasha. Look for openings where we can go, we can live as communities, whether those are Muslim countries, alhamdulillah, there are many, or even for those Muslims who don't believe they can go to a Muslim country for whatever reason, they have certain passport issues, they have, even in non-Muslim lands, where are the openings that the opportunities we can seize?
I don't know if I agree with the statement, no amount of self-defense will help you. I do believe there is an element of self-defense.
It depends what we're talking about. At the end of the day, you could be a MMA expert. If 5 drunk guys come at you, bro.
5 drunk guys?
Yeah.
I think an MMA expert can take out 5 drunk guys.
Yeah,
but I don't want to get stuck on the details.
Yeah.
I agree with your point. I just think to absolutely say no amount, I would say definitely Muslims. I think part of taking responsibility is for people to start learning
absolutely
some level of self-defense, some kind of combat sport, etc. But overall, I agree with your point. I don't think we should have a victim mentality and a victim mindset. But look, you wanted to say
something. I just want to add something. Since we started making content for righteous and rich entrepreneurs, I've gotten so many messages from brothers who've been inspired and want help making money online. They're hungry for financial freedom so they can seek knowledge, do hijrah, and live life on their terms with Allah's permission. But here's the truth. I can't help you. I personally only work with 7 to 9 figure entrepreneurs. With that said, there is one brother that I trust more than anyone else that helps beginners start their online businesses with Allah's permission. In fact, I've sent him dozens of brothers already, and time again, he's helped them make consistent money online. Look, I have a lot to lose by putting my name behind someone I don't have full confidence in. But this brother, I vetted him and his team and his method. I trust him with Allah's permission. Which is why I'm ready to risk my 10-year plus reputation on telling you this brother, he will help you make money online, inshallah ta'ala. So if you're interested, go to the link below and you can apply for his mentorship. With that said, let's get back into the discussion. Of course, you know, the media over-sensationalizes things, but at the same time, we shouldn't take the fact that these type of things are being published in the media for granted. I'll tell you why. You're familiar with the concept of the Overton window.
No.
So basically, at any given time, there is a spectrum of things that are acceptable to be said on the media, right?
Okay.
And then on both sides of the spectrum, that's when you're kind of you're on the fringes now. Okay. So for example, for you to kind of, you know, let's just say that the mainstream balanced narrative is that we need to get rid of terrorists that are coming from, you know, a Muslim background. Now, when this starts getting towards the edge of what's acceptable, what's unacceptable, is when you start saying we need to get rid of Islamic fundamentalism. We need to get rid of Islamists. Basically, what you've now done is that you've taken Muslims. You're just one step away from saying all Muslims are terrorists, basically. Do you understand? Now, that's the kind of, when you're at the fringes, that's when you get pushback. People will say to you, no, you can't say that. That's wrong. But it's still legally within the scope. There's maybe an academic or two that said it. You've got some precedents. You can kind of get away with it. And the whole idea is that if you want to just extend the Overton window, you want to move it further along a radical spectrum, you just keep what? You just keep spending time in the fringes. And when you spend enough time in the fringes, now who says, you know, terrorists? You push the boundaries. Who says terrorists now? Now they say Islamic radicalization, Islamic fundamentalism, Islamist, Islamic jihad. You know what I'm saying? They keep repeating these terms as if that's now the balanced thing.
And the opposite is also true. When a white guy does an attack, you never hear the word terrorist.
Yep.
When a non-Muslim does it, you never hear very psychological problems.
Exactly, right?
Murderer.
But I'm saying now what they're doing is that now one may argue that the fringes of this Overton window right now is to say things like Islam is the enemy who must fight or die, right?
The Muslims are the problem.
The Muslims are the problem. Yeah,
Muslims themselves.
Right? I'm saying that type of rhetoric, what happens is that the fact that that's even allowed to be said shows how the tide has shifted. Because that would be hate speech pre-COVID. Without a shadow, you would have got back. There's no way those guys who came on stage said what they said 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact that means the tide has shifted. Otherwise, they would be behind bars today. That was hate speech 5 years ago. So now, what happens when enough people jump on the bandwagon and then that becomes mainstream narrative? Then what does the Overton window, like? What do the fringes of it become?
It becomes fringe. Yeah.
Find them, kill them where you see them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that's where it eventually gets to. So I'm saying, yeah, 100% there's sensationalization. There's dramatization, there's that fear-mongering, but at the same time, it's also indicative of how things are changing. And there is no group that's more united in the UK right now than those guys.
Yeah, and that was the actual title of the rally, Unite the Kingdom.
So point being is that me and him are not different on Get Out. But what we're saying is, don't get out scared with your tail between your legs. No, with Izzah, bro. Yeah. And when the Sahaba left and they went to Habasha, they didn't want to go. They would rather have stayed with the Messenger, right? But point being is that now is the time, bro. We just got to be smart, bro. It's not our country, bro. Like, them man came to our countries, they robbed us, destroyed us. You know what's funny? Why did that rally happen? What's the main catalyst for it?
Migration.
Migration, right?
That's what they claimed. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the whole policy behind the whole reason behind Brexit was what?
One of the main things was to reduce migration.
Okay. Since Brexit happened, you know how many immigrants have been let into the UK?
A lot more than
4 million
Brexit.
plus in just the last 3-4 years. Why has the government allowed them to come in?
I think that's the key point. Why did the government, not the local Muslim imam of the local masjid, it wasn't his decision.
No, but why did the government allow them to come in?
Probably for economic reasons.
Yep, because they need people to keep the economic engine moving. Yeah. Right now, they're like British people just not having enough kids, like as in English folks, right? Those guys just not having enough kids, bro, and they just cannot sustain the requirements of the nation for it to be at the level that so they have to import immigrants to do the work. Now, I'm saying these guys are allowing you in, they're luring you in, they're making it seem, but really they're just leading you to a slaughter. Because what happens when those guys get angry and then they get let off the chain? Your women and kids are going to die, bro. Bro, I'm just keeping it real with you. If they can come up on stage and say, let's get ready to fight or die, and Muslims are the issue, how can we sit here and not say, bro, this is actually a problem now? Get out.
And the thing is, you can't even expect rationality from them because, let's be honest, without even trying to be insulting, they're not the most intellectual people, right? And, I remember like Facebook, when we were playing paddle was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, it was yesterday. He mentioned that he was on a bit of a losing streak. Me too. I've been on a bit of a losing streak as well. And he was like, bro, sometimes it's like the worst players that you play against that don't know the tactics of the game, how it's supposed to be played. But sometimes it's harder to play against them because they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. You will think they will do what they're supposed to do and they will do the complete opposite. It's like, I think even Imam Shafi'i, right? He said, if I debate another scholar, I'll beat him. Easy. But if I debate a jahil, he might beat me.
Because I've never debated a jahil except I lost.
Except I lost because the guy has a different foundation. Like you say something to him and he will, straw man you left and right. So that's another thing as well, is that you don't know what to predict. You can't even come and say, no, surely it's not going to be like this, it's not going to be like this. Put a rational reason behind, no one in 1930s Germany would have predicted what ended up happening was going to happen. They would have just thought, no, this is it.
But if you read about what happens, and I know you don't have to read because you just have to look over what's happening to our brothers in Gaza, right? But if you just read about when a particular group
is dehumanized,
dehumanize another group, the kind of evils that the most sophisticated, intelligent people will do. If you look at, for example, what happened in Rwanda between the I think it's called the Tutsi and the Hutu tribes. Bro, guys that were neighbors, they would just get on, bro, just started chopping each other's heads off, bro. Do you understand? So if you look, for example,
Bosnia is a good example.
Just look at Germany, bro. Just look at after World War II, when the Allied forces, right, they came and they defeated the Germans. Bro, do you know what they did, bro? Like, do you know what the USSR were doing? Like, they were just raping German women in the streets, bro. But if you read the reports, bro, a man's talking about how my 70-year-old mother was raped by a USSR soldier and then killed her. Right? Little girls be raped on the streets, bro. People just flip when it becomes the enemy. Yeah. Me against him. Do you understand? So it's you don't even have to be stupid or unintelligent.
Can I change course a little bit?
Yeah.
Which is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Which is basically, you were talking about manufacturing consent, and pushing the boundaries of what is socially acceptable.
Yeah.
When we look at how ideas become mainstream, we see that a lot of the time it starts with some researchers, some academics, etc. And then it goes to the think tanks. The think tanks translate academia to like policy papers, talking points, so on and so forth. Once political authority is attached with these ideas, this is where it becomes problematic. So what happens is policymakers, they seek advice from these think tanks, right? And they also seek legal justification. Sometimes it's not about advice. It's about, how do I legally justify this position and how do I make this position make sense to the public, right? And then you have spokespeople for political parties. You have the spokesman for the White House, spokesman for the UN. So they start translating these policy papers and these talking points in a language that the journalists can understand. Then the journalists, they're really good at the whole like making things clickbait and making things viral and the sensationalism and all the rest of it. So they make these terms go viral. Then the rest is history. The algorithm picks on it and it becomes common knowledge. The Zionists did this very well. The LGBT movement did this very well. Even things like global warming started in academia and then they ended up in UN policy making circles and then they ended up as common knowledge, people sitting and having tea and coffee and they're like, global warming.
Just on the LGBT point, sorry to interrupt you, because I did a podcast with a Swedish brother just now and he was telling me, he was like, bro, in Sweden, because it started off with just a flag, they bring a flag and explain this is a flag. Now in Sweden, in classrooms with 4 or 5-year-old kids, they bring trans strippers and they do a strip dance with a pole. There's a pole. The trans is doing a strip tease, taking off the clothes, whatnot, doing a little dance for the kids.
You don't have to give the details.
Teachers are sitting there. We have to give them the details.
We know what it is.
No, people don't know. This is happening in the. I mean, it's like you said. 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been the case. 10 years ago, saying, don't use the word gay.
I don't think 2 years now.
Don't use the word gay. Gay means happy. Started slowly. Now they're doing trans strip teases for 4 or 5-year-old kids, and there's parents are in the classroom. Some of the enlightened, modern, forward-thinking parents, and the teachers are in the classroom, and these are your kids, bro. Sorry to interrupt you, but just because you mentioned about the LGBT.
Something that I've been thinking about is, so we're seeing it now. We're seeing the outcome now with this protest and with some of the stuff that's in the news. But actually, it did start a while back. So we have stuff like the Henry Jackson Society. The Henry Jackson Society is a think tank that pushes out research, right, that supports the narrative that Muslims are a security threat, right? Supports pro-Zionist narratives, supports anti-Chinese narratives, right? When Henry Jackson Society started, it was a small project. It exploded very quickly, as in exploded, like it got crazy finance from, it's mentioned, Yani, it said that the Japanese government and Zionist donors and so on and so forth. Where am I going with this is that as Muslims, sometimes we come to the last step.
The end result.
The end result. People are protesting. People are angry. It's going viral. We take note when things become viral. And this is one of the things that really annoys me. Like even with the whole Gaza thing, this didn't start in 2023 on the 7th of October, right? Where were we that entire time? Why did we have to wait for a genocide to happen for us to wake up and start working towards this cause? This should have been our cause from day one.
Absolutely.
Are you with me? So it goes back to not being reactive, being proactive, and thinking now with solutions, proactive solutions. These guys have think tanks. They get financed in the millions. Zionists finance think tanks. Zionists finance think tanks that are pushing out
Their agenda.
the research, not just their agenda, that makes Muslims seem like a threat. That right-wing people pick up on and they spread in their circles, right? Until it either makes media or at some point a politician adopts these ideas and starts using this research to justify whatever it is that they want to justify, whether it becomes banning Muslims or it becomes stripping Muslims of their citizenship and their passport, deporting Muslims or even more than that, right? So I think it's just we need to actually start thinking strategically.
So
These guys have think tanks. These guys have political parties. These guys have very rich donors. Okay? And we're still stuck on the idiots that are protesting.
absolutely. No, you're
The
right.
idiots that are protesting are tools, bro. They're tools.
No, but what
Who's moving the tools?
but what these idiots protesting indicates, based on what you just articulated,
We're at the last step.
this
We
exactly.
are at the last step.
This is not
We
a
are at
fact.
the last step.
This is not like, oh, it's going to change. No, brother. Like he said, this has been something that has
the
been
works.
cooking. Huh?
This has been in the works. Yeah.
And it's true, bro. Because like now, someone's like, what, Henry Jackson Society, what's the first time I'm hearing about it? Well, these guys have been working for decades, bro.
Decades.
Right? And they're not the only one. There's Rands in America.
Rand.
If you look at, there's others that I won't
There's
mention. I don't want to
plenty.
rate their guys, you know what I'm saying?
Look, there's plenty of think tanks that have been securitizing Muslims from before 9/11, but since 9/11, this whole thing exploded.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
And they've tried different things, violent extremists, non-violent extremists, this. Point is that something's clicking now.
So I want to come to practical solutions and steps that Muslims should be taking in these kind of times, as you kind of alluded to. Before we do though, I want to come to Sam, because we've spoken about the UK, but even in the US right now, things seem to be at, a place where you could literally slice the tension with a knife, especially with the recent political assassination of Charlie Kirk. Who knows who was really behind it, what really happened. But what we do know is that the right is coming out saying it was the violent extreme left. They're responsible. The radical left and the left are coming out and saying, no, it was and you're starting to get to a point where it like almost feels like a not yet violent civil war is breaking out. So what are your thoughts? What's the sentiment like for the American viewers who are watching this, and should they be worried?
It's similar to the UK brothers, and this is a global movement now, right? It's not anymore UK. Who showed up in Tommy Robinson's
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk showed up, right? Via Zoom, of course, but he showed up. So it's not about UK and US anymore. It's common sentiment that immigrants are coming and taking away what's rightfully ours. And if we go back and see how did it start, where we are now and where we're heading, like the brother mentioned, it started, most of these movements, I'll talk about the US, start from these towns that are not like urban towns, small towns, far from the city, and their primary jobs were in manufacturing. And then when the whole industry got deindustrialized, like there's not anymore, let's say, all these motor vehicle factories are moving away from the US, all this coal, steel are moving away. So people from this town, they never actually even finished school because they always thought, what's the point of finishing school? Because there's no jobs in my town. Let's drop out. Let's not do GCSE. Let's not do high school diploma. We'll just go get a manufacturing job. Now, when these manufacturing jobs are taken away, they don't see anything happening for them. There is no path. So who made it happen? It's not the Muslims.
It wasn't the migrants either.
It's
It
not
was
the
rich
migrants
elite
either.
who wanted
Rich
cheaper
elite.
labor.
Exactly. Then on the same towns, Muslims moved in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We drove taxis. We worked in restaurants. Then we opened up our own taxi companies and we opened up our own restaurants. We became business owners. Now our kids went to school, like which is us, let's say the third generation, and they're doing really good. They're not even living in those small towns anymore. And when they come and visit, we're flocking. We have our cultural identity. We're wearing certain clothes, beards, niqabs, hijabs. Now
We have more children than them.
More children than them. So in their mind, they're saying, man, the government stole the jobs away from us, but they're giving everything to these guys. So I think the media actually, because if you think, because I deal with a lot of these Americans, you know, there are certain names people call them. I don't like to call them those names, but basically white Americans, manufacturing, hardworking people. Actually, when you talk to them, most of them were hardworking, but they only knew how to do a few things. They never increased their skills. Government never empowered them to increase their skills. We come from an immigrant mindset. We're like, okay, we're here. We have limited time. We have to make it happen. So our forefathers made it happen. We're making it happen. Now, when they see, and on the media, all these isolated news, when they see it, for example, the grooming gang stuff in the UK, the Sharia debates and all those things, like isolated stuff, but they amplify it. Media machine amplifies it. So they're sitting with their beer, watching Fox News. They're looking at this, jobless. They don't have high school diplomas.
The
They don't
pension's
see,
been gutted.
yes, they don't see any paths. They're not like us that I speak Bengali, I can read Arabic, I can understand Urdu. Like I can go and survive in any countries. I have a US passport. They don't even have US passports because they don't even know how to go and get passports. Seriously.
Really?
Yeah, most of like they call them rednecks. I don't like calling them that name, but most of the white people living in those small towns in the US actually don't have a passport because from the beginning they were told like, why you need to travel? America is vast. There's 50 states. You can go to any states and just pick up and work. So they were I think it was systematic, and they just have the wrong enemy. They're thinking we're the enemy, but we're not the enemy.
It's the rich and powerful.
It's the rich and powerful. And when we talk about debt and mortgage, we can talk more on that. But they're being used as pawns, used as tools, like the brother mentioned. And the right message is not going to them.
So what should the Muslims do?
Before we go to that, I think it's also just worthwhile mentioning something, yeah?
Which is?
There's a lot of talk around maybe it being another entity that did this political assassination.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Because he was actually quite anti-Israel towards the end. He started making a lot of comments.
And I'm saying those potential culprits are also the guys that are funding a lot of this, a lot of these think tanks, right? That are pushing all of this propaganda, and they've actually funded my man in the UK, the one who just done this protest. Do you understand?
It actually used to be called English and Jewish Defense League or something like that. You know, EDL when it first was the thing.
Really?
If you look at it on Company's House, it actually used to be called, and then they changed the name like shortly after
So he's
incorporating
been
it.
funded from day one?
From day one, bro. From day one. There's actually an interview of him where he actually mentions Israel like early on when he started.
But
So he doesn't even, bro, he's not even working for the British interest.
So then the thing to consider here is that, you know, your op is not even necessarily, as in the people, it's not even necessarily the UK or the USA that are creating problems for.
Exactly. Could be foreign entity.
Right, there's a foreign, and then that foreign entity's vested interest is, as long as we keep, they've got so many different strings to move on these puppets, yeah, just to make sure that they are in line with their agenda. Maybe it's the Epstein list, right? Or we got some dirt on you. Maybe it's all right, cool. You don't want to play the Epstein game. You want to be brave? Okay, we'll create political unrest in your country. But there's so much going on. It just seems so complex, bro.
But where are you going with this?
So what I'm trying to get at is that we just need to understand this is not our home. It's not our home, bro. Like if we're talking about
You say this, you mean the West? Or you mean this dunya in general?
no, as in those Western countries, right?
Okay.
I said that's not your home, bro.
Is it? Let me ask you a question, because there are English people that have become Muslim, right? Of course. So is it their home?
Look, of course the situation gets a little bit more complicated there, right? And English people outwardly, you look English.
And more Brits who can afford are moving out. It's a fact.
That's a very valid point. So guys that are not even Muslim are moving out.
But they're moving out for worldly reasons.
Whatever, right?
Taxes, weather, I don't know what. But I'm saying,
But
terms of
those reverts are moving out for dunya reasons then. So it's better, right?
Yeah, I get it. But I mean, when we're telling people this is not your home, because once we start saying this is not your home, we've gone into identity politics. What do you identify with as home?
There's a reason.
And I'm
why
not saying we shouldn't do that, but yeah, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. But there is one issue with that, which is always we want to look at the problems and we want to look at the solutions.
Yep.
We want to look at motivating people through fear and through hope, through Jannah and Jahannam, through halal and haram. When we tell people this is not home, okay, where is home? Because for a lot of you brothers, is Pakistan home for you?
it can be home.
Do you identify with Pakistan as home?
No. But
So-
my home is wherever I go, bro.
No, but
Wherever I find
the point
security,
is,
wherever I find
right now,
safety.
Sharjah's home.
That sounds
In
nice.
the
That
future,
sounds
Medina might be
nice.
home. Pakistan might be
But
home.
it's in human nature to identify with a place, a physical place, and be loyal to that place. Are you with me?
It's human
So if I'm
nature,
telling
yes.
people this is not your home, and I don't believe it's their home, right? I need to start talking about where is home, and if we don't have a home as Muslims, a place we can call home based on our Islam, not just based on comfort or accessibility or not paying taxes or the weather being nice. No, this place is home for me as a Muslim. From a civilization, from a cultural
I
perspective.
don't know if that's the right way to look at it. I'll tell you why.
كل الدنيا كأنك غريب عبر السبيل. Like,
yeah,
ultimately, home is this dunya is not. That's why I asked you.
Yeah.
Do you want this dunya or the West? Because
Look.
from one angle, this entire dunya is not home. Like we have to think of ourselves here as literally just crossing a path. I'm here.
Yes, but-
whether I'm in this country, that country, this country, that country.
But he mentioned the human element, right?
Which is true.
But what I want to say is that there are some like the human element is like a nice to have. As in, I want to be loyal to my place, my people.
It's not a nice time.
I'll tell you why it's a nice to have. Because the Prophet, if anyone had that, the Prophet had that from Mecca. Yeah, he had to leave home, and his new home became Medina.
Sheikh, when he left Mecca, Medina was Yathrib. It became Medina. Medina to Rasulillah. There became an identity for the city that is the city of the Prophet ﷺ. He made an identity for the Sahaba based on the Hijra, based on Medina being home for the Muslims, which is the Muhajirin and the
my
Ansar.
point is he did
That's
that-
an identity linked to a geographic location.
But my point is that he did that, sallallahu despite his love for Mecca. When he was leaving, he looked at the Kaaba and he said, "If it wasn't for your people driving me out, I would have never left." My point being is that someone might be, for example, a revert, or someone might be a Muslim who's there from Pakistan, Bangladesh, 2-3 generation in the UK, and feel that natural sense of, look, even when I'm here and I see sometimes a white guy talk with the English accent, I get a little happy. Like, it's like, it just reminds me of my childhood. Hey, from the UK, yeah? Where you from, mate? You know them ones?
You identify with him.
Of course.
That's what's part of your identity.
My point is that I have an affinity towards it because it's something I'm familiar with. But at the same time, despite all of the, niceties there, I understand that place is not good for me. Of course. It's not good for my people. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not good for my family. It's not good for my fellow Muslims. So we got up and we left. And likewise, if a person's a native born white, Caucasian, British revert, it may be that he has to, I'm not saying the case, but maybe he has to be comfortable with the fact that it's not home no more. Do you guys want to hear something depressing? I've been searching for a halal investment opportunity with high returns for over 15 years. And other than Bitcoin, regretfully, I never found anything solid. The opportunities I found always had one of three issues. It was either haram disguised as halal, or it was super risky and volatile, or it had painfully low returns. I'm talking the type where they mention you make your first million when you're 50. But that all changed when I interviewed the most impressive real estate investor I've ever met, Brother Sam Amin. I interviewed him on my podcast, Righteous and Rich. And he blew my mind away with a halal real estate investment opportunity where he's helping his investors get 50% returns in 2 years. Allahumma barik. In fact, some of the most well-known students of knowledge and well-respected businessmen have invested with him and made hundreds of thousands and even millions. Allahumma barik. And get this, it's actually halal. There are no dodgy fatwas. There's no tricks. It's 100% halal. But there is a catch. There's always a catch. The catch is you have to have at least $100,000 liquid, ready to invest within the next 30 days to qualify for his current development project in Dubai, where it's projected that he's going to be giving 50% returns to his investors over a 2-year period, inshallah. So if you're interested and you'd like to book a call with this team, you can do so at the link below. But just a heads up, if you don't have the $100,000 ready to deploy in 30 days, they won't take that call. With that said, let's get into the podcast.
Okay, so the Prophet ﷺ, when he left Mecca
Yeah.
and he came to Medina,
Yeah.
Medina became his new home.
Yeah.
So much so that after Fath Mecca, the Prophet ﷺ didn't go back to Mecca. He stayed in Medina, right? What's the point I'm trying to get at here is it's very easy to tell people, leave the UK, and I think they should. And it's very easy to tell people this is not home. But at the same time, there's a temporary hijrah, like the hijrah to Habasha, which is a strategic hijrah, and there's a long-term hijrah, where there's a place that for us as Muslims, we call home. This is our culture. You know, based on culturally, civilizationally, this is a place we call home.
Right, but I believe we're at that place. I'll tell you where I believe. I believe we're
Home is where the heart is, as they say.
Yeah. No, look, even I don't even know if this question is relevant in this globalized day and age. When people are just moving around from place to place. I can be here tomorrow, I can just move to Medina. Then after that,
Turkey.
you can move to Turkey, you can move to Pakistan.
By the way, when I say home, I don't even necessarily mean on a state level. Right? In the absence of state building, we can still build communities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So there are places I've been in countries that I wouldn't call home. But that neighborhood
was home.
was home.
Yeah.
Are you with me? And I think until we're able to practice full-on state building, we need to build communities.
Absolutely.
100%.
And I feel like that is one of the solutions. And that's where ownership comes into it. That Muslims need to start doing, which is building your own network, and I feel like we've got that. Like for me, Sharjah 100% feels at home, like as it stands right now.
That's fine. If that's true for you, that's fine. But my point is, just like we motivate people with fear, we need to motivate people with hope. Why do people travel to America? Because it's the land of opportunities.
I see your point.
There's hope that I
see your
can make
point.
this place home and I can make something for myself.
The American dream.
The American dream. So what's the
see your
Muslim dream or the Islamic dream
Yeah,
that we're
yeah.
pushing, we're selling to the people as an alternative?
I see your point.
Because Islam is not just a personal belief that you practice in your house.
But at the same time, one concern that I have though is that you can't, because as you said, look, in this day and age, there's nowhere that's like 100%, bona fide.
That's fine.
And also, places can change. Like even there's certain things that I'm starting to see that are changing that I'm not comfortable with. I'm like, you know what? Maybe in a few years I won't be here. Maybe I might be somewhere else. So I also don't like. This is one thing that I tell people when you're doing hijrah. Don't get fixated on one place. That I have to go to this place and that's where I want to go. And that's going to be my hijrah. And that's my vision board. Is I'm doing hijrah to this place. My thing is I'm doing hijrah from the West, from Darul Kufr. After that, to any
Darul
Muslim.
Islam.
Yeah, any.
But it's from to.
From to
It's a
100%.
two-part equation.
No, 100%. From to, but my to is based on my checklist. I have a checklist.
That's
As
fine.
long as the place ticks these boxes, boom.
So let's talk about the checklist.
But tomorrow the checklist might not be there.
But let's talk about the checklist.
Then someone else has to become home.
Let's talk about the checklist. Let's talk about the checklist.
You go for hijrah checklist. This is a deep tangent.
It's not a deep
Or do you
tangent. It
feel
all
like
comes
this is
together. Because look, let's be real.
part of the solution?
The main part of the solution is
Is to
going to be
leave.
to take responsibility, to be strategic. These guys have been doing this think tank stuff since
I mean,
Napoleon.
if you guys want to talk about
To be
hijrah, you know me,
strategic.
I'm down.
I'll tell you so much.
And to make hijrah.
Okay.
So if we're going to talk about these three things, taking responsibility, being strategic, and making hijrah, then let's talk about them. Let's be solution oriented.
I'll tell you,
no.
there's a couple of things on my checklist.
Go on.
Right? The first thing is me being able to practice my deen without someone breathing down my neck, breathing down my shoulder, right?
What do you mean by that? Because someone might say I can practice my deen freely in the UK. I can go to the masjid. I can pray zakat. I can do all my obligations.
Sure.
No one's stopping me from doing the obligations of the deen.
You're lying. You're lying to yourself if that's the case. You know why? Because they teach you. It's a part of your deen to protect your children, and you cannot. What they're teaching to your children, what they're infiltrating inside your mind. You come out of the streets, there's crack needles on the floor, bro. All that's
I
affecting
homeschool
you,
my kids, for example.
bro. Look, we can play this game of exceptions all day, every day. We're talking
Okay.
to if you're homeschooling your kids, just get them out of the country, bro. Like
Even
if
by
you're
the way-
that good, you're that righteous, mashallah.
No,
tabarakallah, just-
even if you're homeschooling your kids, for
come and check.
homeschooling, for homeschooling to be truly effective, it needs to be part of a community.
Yes.
A child that is homeschooled and not part of a
This is a
community
very important point, actually.
goes back into society and absorbs the culture of that society, or becomes a social misfit.
Yeah.
Social misfit, absolutely.
You see?
That's actually the perfect word for it.
So
Social
what we
misfit.
actually need,
Yeah.
even to make homeschooling successful,
It's a community.
is communities. And to be honest, in
There
the
are.
West, no, we don't. We have ghettos. We have ghettos. The Muslims have been ghettoized in the West. We don't have true Islamic communities in the West.
He's saying
Oh, that's a good point.
You have places where Muslims are,
But even in the West, like
we have
there are-
places where Muslims are.
Yeah.
They're ghettos, bro. You don't want to live in those places. Let's be honest. We were just talking about this. The Muslims, everywhere they went in the past, they became the cultural elite. They became the people other people looked up to and wanted to be like. You see, imagine this scenario. Muslim traders go all the way to Indonesia, and they're so prestigious, and they carry this aura about them that a Muslim immigrant who doesn't speak the local language can marry a princess, the daughter of a king. And she becomes Muslim, and the whole village or island becomes Muslim. Do you know what that's the equivalent of? Not you, because you speak English, you're from the UK. Culturally, you're very British. Our fathers or grandfathers who came and they spoke broken English, or they didn't even speak English, landing in the UK and marrying into the royal family. That didn't happen, right? And it won't happen, right? Because of this exact point, we came, and instead of building communities, instead of creating a culture for Muslims that can be respected, that we can be proud of, that other people can look at and be like, you know what, these guys, I want to go live in a Muslim area because it's the safest area.
But what do you think is the distinguishing factor there? Is it
between a ghetto and a
Like,
community?
why is it that they could at that time, but in this day and age, people come in? It's because it's like they entered the rat race.
There's many reasons. Number one, when they left, for example, the Sahaba that left Medina, they didn't leave Medina because they were being oppressed in Medina. Any of us would have loved to be in Medina at the time of Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Sayyidina Abu, and to die in Medina, and to be buried in Medina. But yet we have Sahaba like Abu Ayyub al-Ansari buried in Turkey. So they left not out of desperation, right? But they left with izzah to spread the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or to trade, but from a place of izzah. So they carried themselves with izzah everywhere they went. We left as colonized people who were broke, who came to the UK, many of us.
Coming back to their colonial masters.
Coming back to the colonial master, because imagine one brother went to Algeria recently, he moved to Algeria. And the Algerians pride themselves in being the land of a million martyrs, because they fought against the French colonizer and they they kicked them out their land, and they take so much pride in that. The brother's telling me every young Algerian kid, his dream is to leave Algeria and go live in France.
What?
So we kicked them out of our lands, but we didn't kick them out of our hearts. We didn't kick them out of our minds. We chased them out. We chased them out of our lands and then followed them into their lands with an inferiority complex.
Even that brother, the Swedish brother, he's Algerian as well. He was saying the same thing. He was saying his father, he can't even fathom leaving France and going to a Muslim country because it's like, we just about made it. Like we made it. Like
we made it to Jannah.
We infiltrated their lines. It's like they came, they destroyed us, and now we're like with them now. We don't need to worry. We're with the
this was my
tough
point about
guys.
it's not your home, bro. That's what I was trying to say. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you are holding on. Just reminds me. I wanted to say that at the beginning. Allah said, "هؤلاء تحبونهم لا يحبونكم." Allah said, these guys, as in you Muslims, you love them.
They don't
love you. وتؤمنون بالكتاب كله. And you believe in the book. You have the Quran.
All of it.
All of it. And you're begging friends.
Yeah.
You're begging friends. Like, you know what it is? These ayat, wallahi, are to me some of the biggest proof of the Quran. Like Allah Azza wa Jal. And I remember saying this to myself 12 years ago when I came across these ayat for the first time ever. And it gives me even more certainty right now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, هؤلاء تحبون ولا يحبونكم وتؤمنون بالكتاب كله وإذا لقوكم قالوا آمنا وإذا خلوا عضوا عليكم الأنامل من الغيظ قل موتوا بغيظكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, these people, you love them, they hate you. They don't love you back. You believe in the book, all of it. When you meet them, they give you nice words. Oh, we're your friends. Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. When you go away, they bite onto their teeth with anger and rage. Muslims. Allah said, قُلْ مُوتُوا بِغَيْظِكُمْ. Die with your rage. Allah said, قَدْ بَدَتِ الْبَغْضَاء. It has now become clear,
manifest.
On the hatred they have for you. فِي أَفْوَاهِهِمْ, on their mouths. Allah said the hatred that they have for you has become clear on their mouths. They say to you, Islam is the problem, fight or die.
And what's in their hearts?
وَمَا تُخْفِي صُدُورُهُمْ أَكْبَرُ.
Is greater.
But what they have in their heart, what Elon Musk has in his heart, is even worse. It's even worse. Do you understand? Akhi, subhanallah al-azim. But what does Allah say? And this is the solution, to be honest. وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا لَا يَضُرُّكُمْ كَيْدُهُمْ شَيْئًا. If you have sabr, and if you fear Allah, their plotting will never harm you. That's what we need to have. A sabr. What sabr? The three types of sabr. Sabr on the obedience of Allah. Sabr staying away from the disobedience of Allah. And sabr when calamity strikes you. And taqwa is what? to take a shield, to make a barrier between you and the wrath and the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jal. In other words, come back to your deen, bro. Come back to your deen. And from the biggest things of your deen, to do hijrah, to even go to, hijrah is not a small thing, you know. There's only a few things left that we can do that are like big acts that are in that category. Hijrah is one of them, you know that, right? It's one of those things. So, wallahi, man, to say I want to move here for dunya reasons, or they, you know, gave my dad universal credit and my mum freaking council tax reductions.
But that's the reality. That's what happened.
And I get free healthcare, I get
people
free
didn't come to
education.
the West. You know when they say, I'm in the West to give da'wah, or some people need to stay to give da'wah. We never came to give da'wah, bro. Let's be real.
They came to give da'wah.
Huh?
We never did.
We never came to give da'wah. And that's the difference between us and the early Muslims. The early Muslims achieved, in the time we've spent in the UK, in the time we've spent as immigrants, so much more than we've achieved. Because they came from a place of izzah. They actually went to give da'wah.
We came for the rat race.
You know, we came...
Capitalism.
Exactly.
So, Sheikh, now that it's done and said, we can't go back and change what we came for. What do we do from here?
That's a good question.
I think everyone should just find a place that's appropriate for them and set up
But there's
shop
something that
and
comes
have
before that.
and have big aspirations gone.
There's something that comes before that. Is first we need to purify the hearts and minds of the Muslims from this inferiority complex.
How do we do that?
We need to revive concepts like, to be frank, al-wala wal-bara. Because how can you live amongst the people if your heart has drank and been nurtured upon wala and bara? People that insult your prophet.
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Or a land in which it's even legal to insult your prophet and you can't do nothing. Yani what, you live in a land, your neighbor could insult the prophet and what, you bite your tongue.
But yet you insult Charlie Kirk and you get,
So if we revived wala and bara in the hearts and the minds of the Muslims, and the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned in the meaning of the hadith that loving and hating for the sake of Allah is the highest levels of iman. So first, you need to actually...
you can't. This is the point. I had this conversation with someone who was in the UK, right? I said to him, so, you know, what do you think the Muslims need right now? He said, we need al-wala wal-bara. I said, okay. I said, whoa. But you're living... It's funny you're saying that in the UK. How do you expect Muslims to love for Allah's sake, have associations, allegiances, and disassociations, the disallegiances, right? Based on Allah and His Messenger, when you're talking about people that are giving you food. How can you hate the guy that gives you food, bro?
You can't bite the hand that feeds you.
I'm saying in the UK, Henry pays your bills. Okay, Tranny Henry, bro. Tranny Henry is the one who's paying your bills.
Well, that's the difference, bro. You're dependent on the state.
My thing is that's why it won't. This love for Allah's sake, it won't, and this hate for Allah's sake, it cannot come whilst people are there. It can't. He feeds you.
So the solution is leave first. But doesn't leaving require a certain level of iman that you have to build up?
I think leaving requires a certain mindset.
Bro,
certain mindset or disposition.
Okay.
I think before you make hijrah physically, you have to have the hijrah mindset.
Hijrah mindset, 100%.
You do. But
100%.
I'm saying one is, I'm saying even if you don't want to leave for the deen, leave for safety. If you don't leave for safety, leave for prosperity. Leave for economic prosperity. Like, what are you in the UK for? Find a reason to get out. You know, when you get out and you see the world, you see what Allah has created for you, you see the opportunities out there, maybe then your mind will start moving. But right now, I don't think this is a situation where it's like, let's wait for the people, let's teach them, let's open up Kitab al-Tawheed, and I don't think that's going to happen.
No, but I think that is extremely important, because even if you look at
it's necessary.
the people now that are on this hijrah vibe, that are on this hijrah thing, they're a generation that spent the last few years being cultivated by classes, by online, whether it's online or even offline. Or like Ustad Abdurrahman Hassan used to teach, Kitab al-Tawheed and these kind of books, and people were nurtured upon that. So now it's easier, because now, like I said, there are people that do want to do hijrah, and you will find a lot of them are the ones that were affected by Da'wat al-Salafiyah that was happening in the UK at the time. By the way, can we say that on the...
No, I don't think so. I think you can, I don't think there's issues.
Okay.
We can review after. But you're missing my point. I'm not denying that. And that's obviously older, right? Like, I'm not against the concept of people, I'm for the concept of people
learning the deen.
Yeah, Ibn Qayyim's got a whole book, right? About Tariq al-Hijratain. The whole concept is about doing hijrah to Allah. Risala Tabukiyah. Doing hijrah to Allah with your hearts. And His Messenger with your hearts. You could be in the depths of darkness. You could be in a land which is in the pits of kufr. But your heart could be closer to Allah than a man who's standing next to the Kaaba. We're not denying that. But that takes time. And I'm saying right now, the state of the UK at the very least, at least from what I'm seeing, it's not something that we should tell people, wait around, hey guys.
It's not about waiting around, but it's about being strategic, and playing the long game. Like the whole thing.
Prepare accordingly and don't be hasty. As well.
I hear you, but playing the long game and then
No, not long game.
getting killed.
Oh, sorry, did I say play the long game?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What I meant.
I said play the long game.
Oh,
game.
okay.
I said it. Yeah.
But no, by the way, I'm not against the long game. But I'm just saying, you don't play the long game when there's a gun at your head.
Just be smart. Yeah. Just be smart about it. But you also don't reach for the gun straight away and try to grab it because the guy's gonna accidentally pull the trigger and blow your brains out.
Bro,
But Sheikh, is playing the long game for everyone? I don't think it's for everyone.
say that again?
It's playing the long game for everyone.
Yeah,
That's another good
I'm
point
saying
as well.
the guys who should play the long game, the Tullab al-Ilm, the Du'at, who are there for Allah's sake, and they want to sacrifice for Allah's sake. So you know what? I'll stay behind with the sunken ship. I'll teach the people that are here, the ones that are ignorant, the hard-headed ones,
That's
the
not what I
stubborn
mean
ones that
by
are
the
not
long
leaving.
game, by the way.
What
That's
do you
not what I mean by the long game. I'm saying there are people who they're not going to listen to this message and take action because they're not ready to hear this. They have not been prepared to receive. Sometimes, actually, the heart needs to be prepared to receive certain information.
But that's what I'm saying.
And that is the general mass, I believe, the general mass of Muslims living in the West. Still, because we're still in contact with the brothers in the West. We're still in contact with the du'at. We're in the groups. We see the conversations people are having. And until today, with what's happening, there's still people that have hope and believe that this is home for me, right? These are a fringe group of people. John at work smiles at me in the morning. Yeah, he doesn't want to kill me. All of that stuff.
For now.
So the point being is there needs to be a mindset shift. There needs to be cultivation, right? And there needs to be...
He's saying he doesn't believe that's even possible while you're still in the UK.
Okay, it doesn't... Okay, you've left the UK. You've left the UK.
No, I don't. I'm not saying it's not possible. Obviously, it's possible. I'm saying it's not. Look, I feel like I understand what you guys are saying. Of course, people are not going to up and leave today, tomorrow. I don't think anyone.
We're asking what comes first. Someone that's watching this, what should they do first?
Leave
They should leave first.
right now. Leave.
Book their ticket and just leave.
Leave.
They should take responsibility and embody that mindset that I'm responsible for myself, for my children, for my future, okay? And they should make a strategic decision to leave.
And that could be in a week's time. No one's saying it has to be years. It could
doesn't
be in a
have to
month's
take
time.
years.
It
It
could be
doesn't have to
2-3
take
months. But what he's saying
Can I
is
be honest with you?
prepare yourself physically, mentally. Because even me,
maybe it's because I'm just a super.
if I can
paranoid
finish.
guy. Sorry.
when I made the decision to leave, when that mindset, that disposition really entered me, was back in 2021. Sorry, end of 2020 / early 2021. About 6 months later, we came to Dubai, set up our company and everything, whatnot. A year and a half later, we actually made the move. So it took, all in all, about 2 years for us
But
to
there
actually...
wasn't an urgency like that, bro.
No, look,
I'm telling you right now.
situation
Well,
wasn't
like-
as
well,
bad
like-
as it is
Brothers,
today, 100%.
I honestly don't want to be a fearmonger, yeah? But I'm just gonna keep it real with you. It takes one thing, bro. It takes bro. Look what happened. A guy who wasn't even a Muslim raped a girl in Portsmouth or something last year.
Huh?
There was an attack.
No, Southport stabbing. Southport stabbing.
Southport stabbing.
The guy, he came and he stabbed children that were doing,
And it
killed
sparked
3 of them.
riots across the
Riots
country,
across the country.
against what?
Muslims.
They said Muslims initially, but then it turned out the guy wasn't even Muslim.
Point
He
being-
wasn't even an immigrant.
I'm saying, wallahi, brothers, you know when you look at, read Ray Dalio's book, right?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that.
Was it, do you want to articulate the point? Or you do it better than me?
No, you go ahead, Sheikh.
No, please.
I don't know which point you're going to say, but
No, the point about how the decline of
yes.
and what happens at
Yeah.
that time. Go on.
It's very deep, Sheikh. It's hard to articulate it. I'm still studying the book. It's like this big. But one of the reasons is when there is such a gap between wealthy people and people who are not wealthy, poor people, there will be power using those people as tools to create the gap even further and create issues and riots and things like that. And he wrote the book in 2021, like way before any of these things were so prevalent, right? And he used evidences from previous cycles. He's saying this is it's a history. There's a rhyme to it. Yes.
Documented in detail.
500 years of empires and countries. And he came up with like 8 reasons, like 8 ways empires decline. And one of them being is just a gap. The gap widens and there will be some people coming and using that.
You know who gave a great analogy? Was brother Amir, aka Loon. He said, you know, if there's a person, who has a lot of guns and he's been king of the hill for a long time, and suddenly he's not king of the hill, but he's been stacking guns for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
He's going to go out with a bang.
He's cut with a bang, bro. Do you understand? That's what happens right now. Actually, the West, especially the UK, bro, The UK is spiraling out of control downwards. And you know when you're loose, you have to understand for a second. Up until like maybe a few years ago, there was still that British pride, the British kingdom,
Not
Queen.
I saw an interview from the rally, and there was a young guy, right? Maybe I'll take maybe early 20s, maybe a teenager, but I think probably early 20s, mid 20s, maybe max. And literally, he said, "This is Great Britain. I want to taste some of the greatness. I've heard told me stories of how great we used to be. I want a piece of that." The way he said it, as if literally, it was almost as if like he was about to pull out a sword and say, like, you know, like, this is greatness. Like, I want to just go and start doing great things, and you know, like that. You could see it within him, and it's like, because he was like, bro, now I feel like I'm I'm the bottom of the barrel right now.
But that's the point, right? Is when you feel like that,
Yeah.
when you
You got nothing to lose.
it's not, bro. That's when you go crazy. Do you understand? That's literally, bro. You're fighting for their life now.
And you think Muslims are the reasons for your misery.
And
That's the-
and not only that, then also you're being funded by another entity that's also fighting for their life.
Yeah.
And they need to keep this order in other parts of the world. So they're pumping money into you people. Do you understand? Now I'm saying, based on that,
I think the phrasing that encapsulates what all of us are saying is leave ASAP.
Yeah.
Not necessarily leave now. Leave ASAP. Leave as soon as possible.
I'll tell you why.
As soon as possible.
I'll tell you what I would do right now. Yeah.
Go on.
If I was in the UK and that rally
He doesn't
happened,
agree with leave ASAP.
Yeah.
Just leave now.
No, and I couldn't, for example, like fully leave myself because I had some things to loose ends to tie up, this, that,
Move your family
whatnot.
out.
If I had the money, right? The first thing I would have done that very night, I would have booked a ticket. I would have took my family out of harm's way, bro.
Where would you have taken them to?
But take them wherever's safe, right? I could take them here, I could take them to Pakistan, I could take them multiple places, bro. Like, you always have to ask weird questions, bro.
No, it's just,
You know,
I know,
what it
bro.
is. Just being practical, isn't it?
Take them somewhere safe, bro. Take them somewhere safe.
Okay.
Drop them off.
I said weird questions.
Bro, look, I had a
It's the most logical question to ask in that situation.
No, because I can't tell you where someone else is going to take them.
No,
right?
no. So I'm asking you. You said this is
Look,
what I would.
I told you, I had a situation many years ago
Yeah.
where someone put a hit out on me,
Yeah.
right? And my brother. And first thing we did, bro, when I heard that next day, bro, I flew my whole family out, bro. Then we came back, but got family out of danger first and foremost. Do you understand? So then it's like, all right, cool. Now you've got women and children that in niqab, hijab, bro, walking the streets right now, bro. These guys have been coming for the last 2-3 months, just taking pictures of sisters, bro, in the park, at the beach, here, there, together. Get them out of harm's way, and then you come and tie whatever loose end you want. But get them out first.
You know, in America, I don't know if you guys followed that news. Texas governor came and banned Sharia law, like officially.
Ted Cruz?
No, governor.
What does that
Abbott.
actually mean?
Yeah, what does it actually mean? So what triggered that action, right? So there is an imam. He's a revert, mashallah, African-American brother, elderly imam in Texas. So he made videos. Basically, he's going out in the neighborhood. Very, very courageous imam, mashallah. He's going out in the neighborhood in Texas, and he's going to the Muslim-owned stores. Okay? And he's telling the Muslim owners, you're selling lotto, you're selling pork, you're selling alcohol, you're selling beer. These are all haram, you know, and we are doing a tour to clean up the streets. Only Muslim-owned shops, because our job is to give da'wah, forbid the evil. So we'll give you 30 days. And he's doing it in good spirits. It's not like he's threatening with, you know.
What's the point? 30 days on what?
There's no end what? We'll come back and check in 30 days.
Okay.
We're giving you 30 days to change up your ways.
Allah Akbar.
And he made videos. I'm mashallah like a strong brother, you know. And but he went to a bunch of stores, and most of the store owners, I did not see any of the store owners like complaining or saying, "Who are you to tell me this?" I was like, and probably these were not even owners. Probably these are employees and clerks. They're like, "Yeah, you're right, whatever," you know. So all the videos looked positive. I don't know if there's any negative feedback, but this went viral in America, in Texas, okay, and of course caught attention of all the Texans, like the governor. You know that lady. There's someone running, and she was also in Tommy Robinson's march. Forgot her name. She's also not an American. She's a Hispanic lady.
Get that idiot, bro.
Yeah, and she's running. She's the one who's burning the Quran in Texas openly. Yeah, openly. What do you call those flamethrowers? Like brush firing Quran, basically. made a video about it, and she's running for a position like housing something.
Yeah, was it her?
Yeah. And then she was also.
So that's what
invited.
video where her face was blurred. I don't.
Yeah, so it's so funny. You have to mention the face is blurred. So so she was invited to Tommy Robinson's march. But anyways, so she's also from Texas. That's why I'm mentioning her. And the Texas governor, of course, he had issue with the Epic City and all that, like the Muslim community that's coming there. He made a big issue out of it. Oh, they're gonna train terrorists there. There's gonna be a camp. Talking about building communities. Like even before they got approved, it's like they just bought a plot. They did not even get approved or anything. They wanted to stop the whole community. Now he came and he banned the Sharia law. So what does it mean? Okay. So all these podcasters are reacting to it, like the right-wing podcasters. And it's just so funny. So the right-wing conservatives stand for what? Don't be a victim. And I think Tommy Robinson is the biggest victim mentality guy I've ever seen. And that's what they stand for, right? Let's look at what they stand for, the conservative movement. Second is, family, God, like don't get wasted over the weekend. You have to work hard. So what is this imam doing? Literally telling you stop selling alcohol. Stop selling lotto. And this is what the conservative podcasters teach. Oh, why are you gambling? You should instead work hard. Like gambling doesn't take you anywhere. So all the things you guys are teaching on your podcast, I'm not going to name the podcast, right? Like all the right-wing podcasters, the business people, are the same thing this imam is telling them to do. But you guys are reacting, oh my God, Sharia law, Sharia law. But it's exactly, I think they're the biggest follower of Sharia law. And they're openly followers of Sharia law on their podcasts. They don't even realize it. The family values. They're the ones openly right now, all the right-wing podcasters, they hate the trans, they hate all the gay movements, LGBTQ. But it's like, it's so funny.
I've always historically said, maybe you guys can go back to previous podcasts, yeah. I've mentioned it so many times. I've always personally found myself aligning more with the right than with the left. 100% every single day of the week. I will take a guy that has some principles, some conservative values, and tells me to my face that he hates me, over a guy dressed up as a tranny coming to give me a hug and then stab me in the back, with a knife by, trying to do an operation on me and turn me into a woman. Like, bro, like I would take that all day, every day. Like if I wasn't practicing, I wasn't on my deen, bro, I would vote right. If I believe voting was permissible, so I believe it's kufr, so I would never do it. But for me, the right is, I would always choose the right over the left.
So I'll mention the other side of
I believe the lesser of two evils is the right, personally.
So sorry to cut you off. So there's other side to it in America. So these podcasters then look at who are the Muslim examples. Okay. And this is where, like, I don't know. Do you understand, Sheikh? Like, so they, like the Sheikh mentioned, like if you go to Muslim cities, like let's show us an example, a Muslim-run city, a Muslim majority city. We want to see how it is run. I cannot speak about America, but in UK, there are not many bright examples where we're Muslim majority.
You mean the other way? You cannot speak about UK, but America.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean the other way. I can only speak about America. There is not many Muslim majority towns where we're leading by example. So if I'm being like just like trying to hear them, like okay, so you guys say like you're all this, you're great, Sharia law is great, everything's great. Show me an example, right? I won't mention the city, but there is a city in America, and I'll tell my team to not clip this out. I don't want this to go viral because we're talking our dirty laundry. There's a city in America. All the councilmen are Muslims, all of them. The mayor is Muslim. The first and only city in America. It's a city. It's a proper city.
Mention it, I'll believe it, but just for us.
Yeah. Majority Bengali and Arab population. Majority of the city. All the councilmen, I think 6 or 8 councilmen, are Muslims. Mayor is Muslim. Yemeni Muslim. Most councilmen are Bengali Muslims. Bro, not all, 2 or 3 got charged with election fraud. So like all corruption, the city is collapsing. It's one of the dirtiest cities. And again, I'll tell my team not to clip this out because I don't want them to use it against us. But like, so what do you show? Okay, so this is one example. Second is, okay, from them, they're looking at, okay, you got some people as Muslim congresswomen and men. I don't think there's any congressmen, but congresswoman. Let's bleep her name out too. So they're thinking, oh, she's wearing a turban, whatever she's wearing. So she's a Muslim hijabi woman. Okay. So for them, okay, let's look at her. Is she doing any good to our country? And she professes she's Muslim. She dresses like a Muslim. Her net worth was minus $45,000. Minus $45,000
when she came in.
When she came to the office. Now her net worth is $30 million.
30 million.
As a person whose salary is under 100,000, as a congresswoman, and you're promoting yourself to be a Muslim, you're getting all the Muslim votes from the members and from the imams. So if I'm a conservative right wing who actually believes America first, like my loyalty is to America, this is it. I want to make this country great again. So I see you as the enemy then. Like you're coming and you're doing all this. You're also part of the corruption, but now you have extra card. You're not only a corrupt politician like all other corrupt politicians. You're trying to enforce Sharia law while you're a corrupt person.
So Sheikh, like based on what you said, obviously what we don't want to do is like victim blame or
Yes.
like self-hate.
Yep.
But we're trying to take responsibility.
Exactly,
Right?
Sheikh. Exactly. That's why I'm being very.
Even in the UK,
like,
bro.
So
bro,
if we want to
crime
take
rates.
responsibility, crime rates in Muslim
You hear
areas.
Muslim names all the time.
Akhi,
Bilal
it's
killed
not about
Muhammad,
even-
Abdurrahman stabbed.
how many of the brothers we knew growing up, Muslim brothers, were drug dealers?
Yeah. Or they're
How
in
many,
jail. Or
how many
they're
brothers do
now
we know
dead.
that got either stabbed or killed by other Muslims?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you understand? We're
How many Muslims
we're
are
not doing very well
fraudulently
as-
claiming benefits and they've
Of
got
course.
39%
it's not my
in
wife,
UK,
this is
read
this,
somewhere.
this.
Now, if we compare that with the early Muslims, taking it back to the early Muslims, because they're our role model, yeah? They didn't give da'wah on the street, like leaflet da'wah, one-on-one da'wah, right? They didn't call people to Islam through logical proofs and argumentation and this kind of idea that we have to convince everybody Islam is true theoretic. They lived Islam.
Exactly.
They lived Islam and they led by example. And
Exactly.
people, because we're talking about the Sharia, non-Muslims would have wanted to stand before a Muslim qadi and be governed by the Sharia because they know it's
Oof, I got
the
goosebumps.
just. They know it's just. They see how the Muslims
100%.
carry themselves, and they're like, if we can't be like them, if I'm gonna go to court, I want to have a Muslim judge.
100%.
You see,
so many cases like that, right? From
so
the history.
subhanallah, that comes back to the issue of, even from a da'wah perspective, the idea of living Islam, firstly in Muslim lands, and those of us that are stuck in non-Muslim lands for now, living Islam in our communities,
In your homes.
in our homes, in our masajid,
Yeah.
in our schools, in our neighborhoods,
Yeah.
right? And if we were to do that, we wouldn't need to convince people
Exactly,
logically.
Sheikh. The biggest welfare scandal in Michigan, the biggest one, the welfare scandal in 2014, where FBI raided everybody's homes together so they wouldn't give information out beforehand, all the homes, all the stores, it was a food stamp scandal, was run by Bangladeshi Muslims. So when they say that in the news, I'm a white man, America first. This is all I know. And I'm a hard worker. I go to my factory job. This is all I knew. I'm a blue collar guy. All in and out. These are all blue collar workers. They actually built America. Now I'm seeing, like, what's happening here? You know, they're taking all the benefits, they're stealing, they're doing all this. And then from their group, I'm seeing some of them also running the businesses. Now I have to go to their store and buy from them. Like, we have to understand their sentiment too.
Yeah.
And they're not the ones that are actually doing honest business, or good business people, honestly doing something. They're not out in the media. And this is the big portion we're missing out on. Nobody has an example. When I say nobody, maybe we know people, but they don't know.
Based on what you guys are saying, I feel like I feel like I've addressed this whole thing wrong. Like, it's clear that our people are themselves a huge part of the problem.
Absolutely.
Right.
Hey, these are facts, Sheikh. These
And
are
a
facts.
lot of people, these white British people
Yeah.
or white American people, whatever, a lot of them are actually scared. They're genuinely fearful for the next generation. They say we're losing our identity, we're losing our country. These foreign invaders are coming in and they're doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I mean,
And a lot of it, well, not a lot of it, but a portion of it is definitely true.
okay,
And it's amplified, of course, and they think it's
yeah,
majority.
right, but it's
Leave
not a lot.
ASAP.
No, that's not
Okay.
My point is that we're going to tell them to leave, and wallahi, they're going to look at us and say, "You're taking me away from my motherland." That's what they're going to say.
That's why.
what
That's
you're
why
saying.
the wala and bara and the
I-
mindset comes first. You need to convince them.
I'm saying-
that's not your motherland.
What? Rather, I think this conversation, possibly what could be beneficial, is to frame it for, the 1% of Muslims. And I don't mean 1% in terms of wealth, but the 1% in terms of influence that can actually do something for their brothers and sisters. Like maybe, for example, the conversation needs to be around, let's create jobs for our brothers and sisters,
In Muslim countries.
in Muslim countries. Like maybe, for example, we start hiring the best of the best engineers and AI guys. We start giving them good wage packages, come out. They're not going to come on their own accord. Let's create infrastructure.
You mean bring them
bring them
Bring them
in.
to Muslim countries, yeah.
Bring them
them
Well,
jobs.
isn't that what they did but the other way around with the brain drain?
Brain drain.
So like the PhD programs and scholarships in America, they bought the brightest minds, akhi.
Yeah.
From India,
Muslim
from
lands,
Pakistan.
and they gave them
That's my
citizenship
point.
and they gave them jobs.
Yes.
So we want to do the reverse.
We
We
do
want
the
to
reverse.
reverse immigration basically.
And this country is doing it, Sheikh.
Yes.
The Golden Visa programs is not only like
Yeah.
put money in and you get it.
And by the way, this country is also proof that you can live multiculturally,
Yes.
and everyone can thrive.
Yes.
Right? Like actually, the host
Crime is
population,
the lowest.
Yes.
the host population is
People are
actually
the
what?
most happiest.
The minority.
Yes.
Yeah. No one is like looking at someone like, hey, he robbed me, or everyone's thriving.
It's 7-3. 70% are not part of not Emiratis.
So he created an infrastructure where people can thrive. My point being is that I think really we should be speaking to is how can that, like those imams of masajid, the tullabul ilm, the people that with a brain, do you know what I'm saying? Maybe the social media influencers, guys that can change the narrative, because we're just speaking to the micro. I think this conversation needs to be on a macro level. Like, listen, how can we now change the narrative and make it the standard protocol that we now, we have our self-respect. We don't feel that inferiority complex towards our colonial masters. Well, alhamdulillah, I never felt that, by the way.
Alhamdulillah.
I never ever in my life. I don't
But do you
what
know
it
why
is.
that is?
Why?
Because I observed this with a lot of brothers around me.
Yeah.
Did your father ever take benefits?
No.
Did you ever take benefits?
No.
That's one of the main reasons.
This is so profound.
Economic independence.
This is so profound.
Is so important. You know, when I was about to go to uni, one of the brothers did he tried really hard to convince me to either take a loan or at least take like a grant or a bursary or something. When I went to my father, he was furious. He was like, you have a father, you want to go take from these guys? No way. And I didn't get it at the time. I was like, everybody's doing it. I was like, okay, forget the loan. I get it. It's a loan. You're in debt. There's riba. What about the grant? Everybody's entitled to the grant. He's like, don't take money from anybody apart from me, or you work for it.
Allahumma barik.
Yeah, and one thing that, subhanAllah, when I had conversations with some of my friends when I decided I was going to leave the first time, because it happened more than once, but alhamdulillah, the first time I was speaking to some of my elders and I thought they would encourage me, and they were very discouraging. And, I would hear stuff like, these guys educated us, these guys fed us, these guys, when we get ill, they treat us. And I remember saying to myself, they never educated me. My dad paid taxes. My dad was a working man who paid taxes.
Exactly.
And at least half of my education was in private schools. And furthermore, my dad paid for my degree. So I had a certain sense of, I have nothing to repay. I don't owe anybody anything. Because apart from my father, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him and preserve him.
I get this a lot, because I talk a lot about Hijra and, about guys, the West is finished. People say, you're so ungrateful. Don't you know that the hadith that mentions whoever's not grateful to the people is grateful to Allah? You should be grateful to the UK for what they gave you and stop talking, bad-mouthing them and this and this and this and this and so on and so forth.
Alhamdulillah, it was transactional. They gave us and we gave them, and then we left.
And we left. Yeah, there's
It's
no
very
debt.
simple.
If anything, I'll be honest with you,
I probably gave them more than they gave
gave
me.
more than
Yes,
this.
I wanted to mention that.
Bro, we was doing mad thing in the masjid,
100%.
bro. We was taking guys, the drugs that they're putting on the streets.
Even we would take it off the
Bro,
streets, but even financially,
how much did you pay in
taxes.
taxes? How much did your father pay in
And
taxes?
just, I completely agree with your point. And, there's a similar example, which was when, because I grew up in a single mother household. So my mum lived in a council house growing up. But for me personally, it had the opposite effect. I was just like, I definitely will not take a single penny. I don't know what it was. But for me, it had the opposite effect, to the point where I remember when my son was born, there's something that every single person is eligible for. It's called child tax credit or something, which is like £80 a month or a week or a month.
Something like that.
Like I think £8 a month. So my wife was like, she asked me some detail, what's your national insurance number? I said, why? I'm going to get this child tax credit. I said, what the hell is child tax credit? She goes, explain what it was. I said, I'll give you £80 extra a month if you want. There is no way I'm taking a single penny from anyone that we haven't earned, exactly as your father said.
That's my son. Do you know what I mean? Why is somebody else putting food in my son's mouth?
In my son's mouth.
No, it's not happening.
Exactly.
Like, if you think about it, this is actually a strategy the Muslims use. Like zakat, one of the reasons you give zakat, ta'lif al-qulub, is to bring the hearts of people close. Like the Prophet, people accept Islam, would give them, you would feed them. Do you know what I'm saying?
So no wonder why your heart's so connected to these guys is because they're the ones funding. Yeah, they've been feeding your your whole life. Like,
But one important point is somebody might be watching saying, okay, I already took benefits, or my parents took benefits. Yeah, you brothers don't feel that way, but I didn't have any say in it. My parents took benefit. Let's say somebody watching this thinking, and one important point you guys also mentioned is transactional. So it's fine. There's no problem, right? Because even Donald Trump, for 15 years, instead of paying taxes, he got tax refund from the government. Because they're out there to make sure they're maximizing what they get from the government and not give anything back. And why are we so like, oh, this is like, why are we?
I'm not
It's
saying
no
just
problem.
because something happened once doesn't mean you have to carry it
Exactly,
on.
yeah.
Be your own man, make your own
Because
decisions.
it becomes multi-generational. You need to break the pattern.
Yeah.
You need to take responsibility again.
Yes.
And you need to become economically independent.
And you need to do what your forefathers did. When your granddad decided to leave Pakistan, to leave these countries and go there, he, based on all the information that was available to him at the time, all the variable factors, he thought that was the best thing to do. You now staying there because, oh, my granddad came here, so if I leave, I'm throwing what he did down the drain. No. You're following in his footsteps. You're following his sunnah. He made a decision to leave where he was because of
He thought it's
he
better.
thought it was better.
Yeah.
You now can see clearly that where you are is worse and the places that are better, but you're staying because, oh, but this is...
Obviously, you don't have to follow his
Doesn't make
sunnah.
sense.
It's not like our forefathers' sunnah is something that we have to follow. Yeah.
No. As in, my point
let's
is,
look at the early
no.
Muslims
As in,
as a
they're
better
staying.
example.
No. What I mean to say is, people will say, "I'm staying here because my granddad moved here. Because
Made
he
all the
moved here,
sacrifice, yeah.
he sacrificed. If I now leave, I'm throwing his sacrifice down the drain." I'm saying, no. He'd
So
be
you're
proud
actually
of
following
you.
on his
You'd be following his footsteps. You'd be more in line with him by actually leaving yourself and doing what he did back when he did it.
But you know one thing I don't get, yeah, it's just dawned on me when you said it's transactional and whatnot. Like that's how I felt. Like as in, maybe some people think like we hate the UK. Like, as
same
in,
thing they mentioned.
I don't have a hate for the UK. I hate things that happen there. I hate certain. I kind of think sometimes the UK, if you take all the evil, there's a bit of a vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so they mentioned the same thing about the passports. If you want to add on to that, like they
Yeah.
also mentioned the same argument about passport. Like, oh, so we don't like you're moving to all these countries.
Yeah,
but
but-
where's your passport? Like they don't give you a passport. But even white, non-Muslim British citizens are moving.
Yeah.
And they're not and they have been there for 800, 900,000 years. And they don't feel like, oh, so what's up with my passport? UAE's not
not
giving
just
their
that.
passports. I feel bad moving. They're moving.
A passport is a tool. It was given to you.
It's like iPhone.
Use it.
tool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You use it. You don't then turn around and say, okay, I'm not going to use this, so I'm going to throw it down the
I
drain.
do think though we should look into getting other passports now because I
In
don't
general,
know.
100%,
If
you
this-
should always
if
have
this
passport.
If this thing starts
safety.
getting cracking,
We can do a whole podcast on
and
Russia.
I need to go back to renew, bro. That's mad, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It's not
No,
even
no,
just
you
about
can renew
things
from the embassy.
cracking.
That's not, you don't actually have to physically
I
go back.
don't know. I go to the embassy and they tell me, hey, listen,
Or you can even renew online now, but
bro, what would you guys?
no. But what I think is a bigger thing to consider though is the fact that I think, if I'm not mistaken, the second generation born outside of the UK aren't automatically entitled to UK British citizenship. So, for example, yes, let's just say I've got a daughter.
Our kids.
Our kids, yeah. So if our kids are born outside of the UK, if their children are born outside of the UK, they don't automatically qualify for British citizenship. So you should definitely start thinking about
Yeah.
what to do and getting a backup, whatever that might be. There's countries you can pay like a couple of 100,000 and you get a passport and so on and so forth. So,
Turkey,
They'll say you're giving only
400,000
one people solution.
Yeah.
400,000 US
Turkey.
dollars in Turkey.
no,
to get a passport.
even that's what I'm saying. Even,
And it's a Muslim country as well.
You can get
Yes,
Pakistan
that's
for free.
but I'm saying, huh?
Can you hook that up?
As in
As a Pakistani,
Pakistan.
I thought that was like a service you were going to start hooking the brothers up with.
No, but
Part of the project, Righteous and Rich Project. We're gonna-
Pakistan is way.
You know, Bangladesh passport is the most expensive one. $500,000.
Really? Is it enough? Look at that.
that's the price anchor.
That's the.
If someone's
the
gonna buy
UAE
it,
price.
just keep it there, bro.
Yeah, it's the UAE price.
the-
Bangladesh passport,
But even there are countries,
$500,000.
Muslim countries,
That's
like,
Izzat
they
al-Nas.
send kits and.
No, but if you're going to go out your way to pay money and invest your money into
Well,
the
we are
economy,
Muslim one, yeah.
to
Oh,
get a
100%. No,
passport,
I agree with you.
then invest it into a Muslim
it's
economy.
No,
Of course,
100%.
of course,
It's better.
yeah.
And it makes more sense to do
Turkey,
so.
Jordan, Egypt, they both have citizenship by investments.
How is it?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Do you guys want to carry on and run to the end of the episode with this, or should we move on to the mortgage? Because I thought that's kind of connected.
What's mortgage? What's going on mortgage was?
Current affairs? Well, come on, man, mortgages.
So I think we'll be late, right? 3:50.
What's the time, Sheikh? I'm sorry, how long have we been recording for?
Now, 1 and 20.
Yeah, let's just wrap it up with this. There's 10 minutes left.
Well, we've got the leadership episodes next.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Come
No,
on.
as in, the mortgage one we have to move to another.
What is the mortgage one?
I sent it. It's the. As in, this was current affairs, right? So there was three
I
different
didn't
topics.
receive
We just
anything.
spent the entire. You did. We just spent the entire time talking about the first, which was the far right.
We discussed it in our podcast in quite a bit of detail.
But yeah,
quite
it was just to do with the issue of the episode you guys did and people coming out defending mortgages. So, and it kind of relates to what we're discussing. This mindset people have, and mortgages. People actually coming out justifying mortgages.
You know who told me today, bro? You know in mortgage, what it means?
Malt,
Huh?
death.
Death.
Yeah, it's mad.
Translates to a death pledge.
To be honest, you know what? I feel like it is relevant to what we're discussing, right? Which is the fact that people, the mindset of the Muslims has to change, right?
It's a debt till death, akhi.
The Muslims that have this mindset of the mortgage and they justify it. They
You
come
want
out.
you want the death loan.
and they say that if I don't pay a mortgage myself, I'm paying someone else's mortgage. So I might as well get it then.
Someone else's death debt.
But there's a few layers for this, and I spoke to Sam about this as well. Number one, how do you know your landlord still even has a mortgage? He might have bought his property outright. He might be a Muslim who finances property in a different way. For example, that's number one. But number two, if your belief is that if I'm paying money and it's being used for evil, I might as well pay directly to the evil myself, then you should be giving all your money to Israel. You're paying taxes, the UK government.
Instead of paying British
giving
taxes, yeah.
We know that the UK and the US governments are paying money to Israel. You're paying them taxes. Instead of the long route, just take the direct route. Just give your money directly to Israel.
There's another solution, not to give your money to the British government.
Not to give your money to Israel, but by leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
Do Hijra.
And then give your money to Muslim economies.
To Muslim economies, which aren't perfect.
Muslims.
Which aren't perfect. They've got the thing, but the evil is less.
It's not even about the evil being less.
Considerably.
Look.
It's night and day difference.
Let's say you go to a Muslim country. Let's make this completely hypothetical. You go to a Muslim country. The Muslim country right now is in the worst state possible.
Yeah.
Right? That worst state possible, that leader, that government is going to die. صح? And what's going to happen?
Someone else is going to take over.
Islam is going to remain in that land. And the Muslims, the next generation of Muslims are going to come and they're going to worship Allah in that land. The next generation of Muslims. So when I invest in infrastructure in this country, like when my father invested back home, put all his money back home, put all his eggs in one basket. Yeah, he wasn't looking at the right now. What is the situation looking like, and what does the ruler look like, and what does the government? He's looking. I'm doing this so 100, 200, 300, 500 years down the line, Muslims are being employed because of something a seed I planted. Muslims are being treated because of a seed I planted. So when you live in a Muslim country, because by the way, this is another issue with Hijra. I'm not for this idea of nafsi. I'm going to go to a Muslim country where I can practice the religion and nobody harms me. Because as we've said, and we said it on the podcast a few times, Islam is not just about your personal worship.
But how do you balance
it's
that
about
with
what,
أنفسكم وأهليكم now?
No, that's part of it.
That's the first
But
step.
that we don't reduce Islam to that. At the end of the day, your goal to make Hijra is to establish Islam. Okay?
In your own life first.
Wherever you're going to make Hijra. And that's one of the considerations you need to think about when you're making Hijra. I'm going to invest time and money in this land. I want to leave something behind, a footprint in this land that outlives me and maybe even outlives my children. Is this a place I can do that? Can I build infrastructure here? Can I build a community here? Can I even, your project, yeah? SubhanAllah, something that really resonated with me is you said you're building a musalla in the place. That's something that maybe 500 years down the line, someone's going to pray in that musalla.
Absolutely.
That's infrastructure you left behind. Right? So I think that's one of the considerations I personally made, and I say brothers should make when they think about Hijra, is not just how can I practice Islam without, where can I leave something behind?
So,
a legacy for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a sadaqah jariyah that benefits the Muslims when I'm gone.
and Allah, the Muslims, if
But can I say something?
left with all of the
I don't think
intellect
there's
and
many
all of their
places
wealth, wow, that was
where
a
you can
mad
do that.
interruption. Wow.
But I don't think there's many places. What?
I said that was a mad interruption, but sure, go on, carry on.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
I didn't even hear you.
No.
I was just so.
I'm not here. Just carry on.
I'm saying the day and age that we live in, there's not many places that you can do that, right? As in as freely as you'd want to. But I think the key is
Have the intention.
not just intention,
Plant the
but to
seed.
work towards it.
To plant the seeds.
To plant the seeds.
That's all we can do, right, Sheikh?
Yeah,
Like,
to
we don't
plant
have
seeds.
control over anything
It doesn't
else.
have to happen in your lifetime.
Exactly, Sheikh. I don't
But
know
if
why
you leave
we...
something behind and that infrastructure is built upon by somebody in the future,
Yep.
a future leader, a future whoever, and that is useful for the establishment of Islam, then your job is done. Alhamdulillah.
People are sitting in shade today because someone hundreds of years ago planted a seed.
Planted a tree.
Absolutely.
Cool. Anyone want to make any final remarks? I thought that was a good place to leave it.
I think we should do the mortgage thing separately. Sheikh.
Separately, yeah, 100%. We'll do separate. Complete
I might
separate
come
podcasts
across
on
bias, yeah.
Because you are biased.
Leave
Like,
now.
bias is not a bad thing, by the way.
But
Leave
that
now?
sounds pretty cool.
That sounds good.
When are you going to invite us, Akhi? When are you going to invite us and host this out there? And
Wallahi, soon as, man. Soon
Sheikh,
as.
remember we planned to tour all the Muslim countries. We should do it.
Let's do it. Wallah,
Take
that was-
about 30 days
But if we're going to do it, we have to do it with a mission, with a
with
purpose.
a mission.
Like we book, I don't know, conferences in universities. we
So
give
our whole
lectures,
idea
we
was
make a dawah
to meet
tour.
to meet the righteous businessmen in each city we go
Allahu
to,
Akbar.
connect with them.
The people of authority in each
People-
country.
yeah.
That the future Ahl al-Hal wal Aqd.
Yeah,
Go on.
Inshallah.
Final question of the podcast.
yeah.
Leave now or leave ASAP?
Leave pre-ASAP, bro. You should already have gone, bro. You should have gone.
Leave yesterday.
Leave yesterday.
With that said, guys, leave yesterday. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See you on the next episode.